I'm 92.7. It takes a village to put a program together, definitely, and we're just making sure that everything goes smoothly behind the scene. Welcome to the program. Good to have you. We're looking at drug abuse today on the program. We have one of our guests seated right here in the studio. I am Kimberly, and I'll be doing this solo going forward. It's going to be a beautiful experience for both of us. 3 minutes past the top of the hour, 3 minutes past 8 o'clock. We'll be doing this till 9 o'clock. That's the top of the hour. Welcome on board, Mister. I like your beards, by the way.
Thank you very much for the compliment. I love your hair too.
well, well then, thank you very much. So, we're going to talk about drug abuse this morning. Let's hear from you. Introduce yourself and what you do.
Okay. So my name is Inem. I'm a health educator.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. So, health educator. That means you're an educationist.
Not exactly. It's health educator can double as educationist as well, and can also be a public health practitioner.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Great to have you. All right, then. So there's a recent report, the NDLEA advocating for physical exercise to prevent drug abuse. The military also came out to talk about, they were concerned about some soldiers using drugs, before operations, that it's very, what's the word, rampant among soldiers, the use of drugs. And, the use of, among...
Gauge his or herself and just find something to make the day more exciting for him. And even for the military people,
Yeah.
most times their job is not really that simple.
Okay.
So sometimes and most times they may be exposed to death and some traumatizing situations. Their loved one might have passed away, their colleagues, their friends. So they may want something that may say, ordinary eye may not be able to sort this. So I need something to shield me from this experience. So yeah.
So you're talking about what is aiding this drug abuse issue in
Exactly.
the society. All right,
Yes.
then we have our other guest on standby on the line with us right now. Good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Good to have
It's
you.
nice being here.
Yes, a pleasure to have you. Please let us hear your name directly from you and what you do.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to the listeners at home.
Yeah.
I'm a pharmacist Samuel Shola Michael, the former coordinator of Young Pharmacists Group in Osun State.
Okay, then Samuel, good to have you. So, what are your thoughts on drug abuse in Nigeria? Let's start from there because drug abuse. I'd like to be. I stand corrected, but there's also the case of medicating. Does that count as drug abuse?
So of course, drug abuse majorly is in the simplest form is using a drug for what it is not intended for. That is the basic definition of drug abuse. But in the advanced form, drug abuse is about taking psychoactive medications. And when I mean psychoactive medication, I mean drugs that people easily get addicted to. Drugs that actually give a form of rewarding mechanism to the brain. So such drugs are what are usually classified under most abused drugs.
All right, then. Thank you for that. Now, what do you think is fueling the issue of drug abuse in our country, in our society today?
Well, the first issue, though, let me put it this way: drug abuse is not only a challenge in Nigeria alone. In fact, even in the most civilized countries, we still have issues of drug abuse. But in Nigeria, presently, looking at the statistics, the drug abuse is actually rampant among the youth, and I feel the peer pressure. Peer pressure is actually a major, is a leading cause of drug abuse among the youth. So because there's an adage that says that show me who your friend is, then I will tell you who you are. Okay. So based on the kind of group cliques that youths actually move with, there's this high probability of, even if it's not intentional, but based on the circumstance of moving with them, there's high probability that such a person too becomes a drug user. There are some that even at parties that they lace the drug, their drinks with psychoactive medications. and with that, the person instantaneously become frequent drug user.
Okay.
Though there are those that maybe based on their job description, like based on cases that I've actually seen, maybe like the some of the, though I don't want to mention an ethnic group now, but we know there are some people in Nigeria that maybe they dig well, or they dig the road. They all those that lay pipelines on the road. So most of them, because of the highly energy demanding of the job, they most time resort to actually taking some of these opioid analgesics, which are highly psychoaddictive.
Okay.
So, and it should get to the point that even when they are no longer even doing the job, they cannot be a normal person without taking the medication.
All right, Inem,
Yes, please.
you want to add to that? Your contribution to what he had just said.
Yes, I'll agree with him 10 over 10. Like the particular people that he was referring to, that particular population. Okay, so if I want to really say, they abuse these opioids and analgesics so much that a particular dose that they use yesterday will not work for them again. They need to use a higher milligrams.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yes.
What do you think is fueling drug abuse, the issue of drug abuse?
So like the work they do, the occupation, like those people, you see them, they want to bring down a whole building. Ordinary eye will not do it, as I would say. Their physical strength alone will not do it. So they really, most times, have to abuse this substance, and they abuse it in a higher percentage. Like you keep it progresses. What worked for you today will not work again tomorrow. So you need a higher dose. So that alone plays a role. Peer pressure to do. If we are in the same class or we are friends and we are like 4 of us are taking, and I'm just being a good child, I say, leave that one. He's not a man.
Yeah.
He's not man enough. He doesn't want to. He's mommy's child. And a regular boy will not want to be a mommy's child. You want to be
So
like
you
a
want to
bad
prove
boy.
a point.
Exactly. You want to prove a point. So even when you don't want to use it, just for you to show that you're masculine and you're man enough, you have to just join it in most cases. And
yeah. So Samuel, when we say drug, it's like an umbrella, word. Can you take us through the classes? Because I'm aware that there are classes of drugs. There's a class A, there's a class B, class C, and each is awarded some level of punishment, right, Samuel?
Of course, there are. But before proceeding to that, I first want to explain the pathophysiological
Please break down
mechanism.
the grammar. Break down the grammar for us. Not all of us are pharmacists. All right, go on.
No, what I just mean simply is that I want to explain the processes involved in what actually leads to that addictiveness in people. So, majorly, more psychoactive drugs, there's a rewarding center of the brain, which is called the limbic system. It involves the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, and the amygdala. So this part of the brain is one that controls the release of a particular neurotransmitter called dopamine. So whenever we are feeling happy, we are elated, it's actually the dopamine that is being released into our body system that makes us happy. So, but when it now comes to drug addiction, this drug actually goes straight to that center of the brain. It's at the midbrain. So once the drugs get to the target site, the receptor site, it releases the dopamine, and the person will feel happy. Unfortunately, we are not in control of our brain. So at a point in time, even when the reason why the drug is being used is no longer there, the brain will still be craving for that level of dopamine, which leads to continuous addiction. And this is even one reason why it's actually difficult for somebody who is already addicted to somebody who has actually maybe made a decision to stop taking some of these addictive drugs. You see that most of them, they fall to relapse. They still come back to taking such medications again, because the rewarding center of the brain has become accustomed to that particular drug and the release of that dopamine in the brain. So now let's now come to in terms of classification of
and the one that is most prevalent in our climate, the one that is most abused by Nigerians.
Yes, in terms of the most abused drug in Nigeria, the first class of drugs are the opioids.
Opium is abused in Nigeria.
Yes, the opioids are the most abused. So and we have the likes of even codeine, morphine. I don't know if you are even aware of there's this Benylin with codeine.
Yes,
a cough syrup is an antitussive. Yeah. Yes, for it just mainly just for cough. But it got to a point that you just see people just come to buy 10, 20 bottles of the cough syrup and be like, are you giving the drug to the whole community? Yeah. So that's when you realize that they actually are using it because of the codeine content of the drug, and the drug has been banned presently, so it's no longer available in the market.
Okay.
So that's one. Then when it comes another group of drugs that's also being abused, even alcohol.
Okay.
Yes, alcohol is also is another class of drug too that is also being abused. People consume alcohol a lot.
And you're leaving out marijuana because recently the federal government came out to say that over 10 million Nigerians heavily abuse marijuana. The local name is Igbo. And now, there's been a lot of conversations around that marijuana use. Take us through what kind of drug it is. Is this a sedative, stimulant? And also, what are your thoughts on legalizing marijuana in Nigeria from a health perspective?
Thank you. Well, yes, marijuana is also highly abused, no doubt about that. But then, if you look at it globally, there are some countries like the United States that still give some states the legal rights for people to actually use marijuana. But in Nigeria, it is totally banned.
Illegal, yeah.
So, but people still use marijuana a lot. Though, as a professional, marijuana actually has some medicinal benefits.
Okay.
But nevertheless, as the law states in Nigeria, marijuana is actually illegal. So, and we have a lot of youths and even elderly too that are actually involved in the use of marijuana in Nigeria, and it's also psychoactive. It is addictive also. Because of the cannabinoid that is actually present in it.
Okay, Imam, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, and one thing that really makes the marijuana more that people abuse it a lot, it's because it's available. It's really available and people and somehow affordable. So even I'm not employed, I may have a friend that is earning more than me and will be using me as a errand boy. So when I buy, I'll have some as my reward. So it's really common. And also, so even the other things, the other alternatives that people do, they improvise things to use for high. I mean, and there are endless ridiculous things that you wouldn't even think of. Some could even go to the extent of using septic tank, the pipe from septic tank.
I heard about that, yeah.
They could use, I wouldn't want
even,
to list other
fuel,
things. Petrol, gum, excrement, so many things that I could not even think of. Some common leaf that we use for food, they improvise this and use for the high of it. This is because they really want to that feel good effect, that dopamine being activated so that they'll feel happy. And there are some other ones that are even worse than that. And as you rightly said, they are very, very addictive. Once once you start, it's almost impossible to get back. So I'll always.
And he explained how addiction works.
Yeah, because I mean, it in the brain. The brain will always want to
Yes.
feel that way every time. So,
yeah.
it's better for us to prevent. Like, we shouldn't even open that Pandora's box. Like, this is for.
But it's a debate. It's a conversation that has been going on. You know, there are some drugs like marijuana that they would say, okay, with right regulation, it should be legalized for the greater good of the country. That's, you know, a very serious conversation that's going on.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And
true.
among the youth, is very prevalent. You go to every nook and cranny, you see people smoke,
It's more like
consuming
Ugu
marijuana.
everywhere.
It's like some people use it to cook soup and everything. But now, before I ask the long-term implication of drug use, Imem and Samuel, why is this a public health concern? Why is drug abuse a concern? How does it directly impact Nigerians now?
Do I go first?
Yes, you go.
Okay,
first.
so I feel it has so many ills. Okay, if I happen to drive under the influence of any of these drugs, even alcohol or the recreational drugs, it is fun for me. But the next person just going around doing his stuff may not know that I'm not stable. So I'll just be as reckless as possible, and I'll just take problems to the person. I could hit the person, and that may be the end of it. I could maim the person. The person might be the only source of survival for a family. I've killed the person. I could do a whole lot of harm from it. I mean, mental health problems as well. We may increase the number of people that are using mental health facilities. That endless ills. Violence will be increased. There will be a whole lot of ill. In as much as there are some good parts of these things that can be used if it is being regulated. I mean, the medicinal marijuana can only be used by medical professionals, most likely in psychiatric settings. Not exactly.
All right, then, Samuel, let's hear from you. Why should we be concerned about the rise? And let's not take away, we should also, put our focus on youths as well. Students, we're not talking about students, even secondary schools now.
Even
There's
primary
very
now.
high level abuse of drugs. You go to some secondary schools, you see some people injecting themselves, taking tramadol, and they say codeine is banned now. But then there are reports that in streets in Nigeria, people still find a way to
get it.
there are loopholes. People still find a way to consume it.
Yes.
So Samuel, let's hear from you. I asked him a question: why this is a concern for us Nigerians?
Yes, of course, it's a huge menace. It's a huge concern for us, especially when young students majorly are actually involved in drug abuse, and I feel it's this menace should be tackled holistically as a society, because if you look at it, it's what, in fact, drug abuse is one of the things that actually can lead to the breakdown of the society. First of all, the source of the drug. Secondly, the means of transportation. Then third, the fund to access it. So those are the three major steps that we should look at. Then, yes, the fourth, the responsibility of the parents too. Okay. Because there's no way a young person we are under the tutelage of the parents will be making use of a psychoactive drug, and the parents will not be aware. So it boils down to the responsibility of the society at large. So it's a collective responsibility from every one of us to ensure that this menace is actually tackled.
Okay,
okay.
Go on. You wanted to say something?
Yes. First, from the regulatory agencies who are actually in control.
We're going to get to the solution part. But what are some of the long-term effects of the use of some of these drugs, the health implication of it?
In fact, if I start to list some of the implication of these, in fact, this whole show will not be enough to state that. But let me start just from the physiological implication. First of all, by the time if you see most drug addicts, you will realize that there's this physical degradation.
Okay.
Because even some of them, they don't eat. The only thing their mind is poised on is using of the drug. So you see that their body, there's this I don't want to use the deformation. So both physically and psychologically, they are not okay. And they become an economic burden to the society. In fact, there was a case whereby a student, we thank God that he has been rehabilitated now. A student, he got into use of cocaine. He had this access to huge amount of cash. He got into the use of cocaine. He spent the whole fund on cocaine, and at a point in time, he had no money again to source the cocaine. He started selling. He became a distributor of the cocaine. So let's look at that cycle. He became a distributor of the cocaine, and he himself started selling till at a point in time that I think he had an accident, and that was when he got to the hospital and they started rehabilitation for him. So one, he lost the money he wasted should have been used for something that can add economic value to himself and to the society. That is lost. Then with the fact that he's actually selling, he has introduced more people into the cycle. Who we also try to include more people into it. So before you know it, it is a kind of chain that leads to the breakdown of the society. So that's that about that. Then secondly, if you look at our
I'm sorry to jump in there, but I heard of a case once where someone was heavily abusing drugs in her early 20s, late teenage years. And then at about early 50s, she started having liver issues. She started having some issues with her organs, and she was admitted almost to the point of death. Even she started having some blackouts and things like that. So why does this happen? Because I remember that when she shared her experience, she mentioned that the doctor said it was as a result of the drug abuse she did in her teenage years or in her early 20s. So why does it happen this way? Does it happen this way that the symptoms come up later in life?
Yeah, of course. The reason is this: the liver, in our body, there's what is called homeostasis. That is, the body has a way of actually maintaining a balance, regulating the body system. So, and the major organ involved in that is the liver. So anything we take into our system, there's a metabolic process that takes place, which is being done by the liver. So most of the time when these drugs is actually taken, they actually start with a low dose, and the liver keeps managing, doing its work, managing. That's why even you see people who take alcohol, that most of the time they usually have this, those that take beer majorly, they usually have this protruded belly. So
that's also a medical concern.
Yes, because the organ that is metabolizing, that is actually breaking down and getting rid of the waste, is being overworked. And don't let us forget, when it comes to drug abuse, people go for higher doses. So they don't continue at the dose at which they started. So they keep going higher, and it gets to a point that the liver becomes oversaturated, and it might lead to liver failure.
All right, Pharmacy Sam, well, just hold our thoughts. We'll come back to you. We still have a lot to go over. We're looking at drug abuse, a menace in society, right now on Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. I am Kimberly, your host, and we also have Inem Ukbong in the studio right here. Don't go away.
It's time to switch up your streaming and social media experiences. Introducing the Glow My G, the first all-in-one family bundle. It's the perfect one radio. Snap it.
92.7 Super FM.
And
Your
everything
one
you
family,
love going online.
one
With
radio.
My G bundle,
Super
you get the data
92.7
deals from Instagram,
FM.
TikTok,
One family,
Automatic,
one radio.
all-in-one bundle.
92.7 Super FM.
With
Your
a
one family,
all-in-one data
one
bundles
radio.
with Glow My G.
Super
Get 1
92.7
gigabyte for
FM.
300 naira.
One family,
For 500 naira.
one radio.
For 1,000 naira.
92.7 Super
You
FM.
also get
Your
1
one
hour
family,
free browsing
one
for your
radio.
favorite apps. That's
Super
Instagram,
92.7
TikTok, Snapchat,
FM.
WhatsApp,
One family,
and Glow TV.
one radio.
Hash to start making
92.7 Super FM.
Global G
Your
Bundle.
one family,
T's and C's
one
apply.
radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio.
Welcome
92.7.
back. 92.7 Super FM.
Right, welcome to Spotlight. Welcome back to Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. Still your host, Kimberly Ubiebo. I have Inem Upong still in the studio with us, a public health expert. Let's leave it at that, because your titles, your achievements are so humongous. And then we have pharmacist Samuel Shola still on the line with us. Thank you for staying on, Samuel. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you were
You're welcome.
Yeah, so we were talking about the long-term effect, health effect. You know, we looked at the economic consequences of it. Because I think I'm not sure, but I believe you mentioned the part where it's affecting the productivity of youths as well, right? Somewhere along your analysis. Or did I hear that from Inem in the studio? Anyway, so we're looking at the health implication of it, because I cited a case where someone, later on had liver issues, and you were explaining why that can happen, that can come up. Hello, Samuel.
Okay, yeah. Yes, as I said earlier on, the reason why there's usually organ damage, which is majorly liver failure, is as a result of overburdening the liver.
Okay.
The liver is the organ that actually does the detoxification and the metabolic activity in the body system. So at a lower dose, the liver might still manage in the metabolic process, in the detoxification, but when the person starts taking higher doses, and again, it's not just about maybe taking higher doses again, the frequency of use too increases. So somebody who has been using maybe the drug maybe once a day starts taking it twice a day and starts increasing the dose also. With that, the liver becomes overburdened with the metabolism. Then the kidney also helps in the excretion processes. So the kidney too becomes overburdened, and at a point in time, you see that the person might have clinically a dead liver, which is called a liver failure.
Okay. All right. Let's hear from you, Inem. Long-term health impacts of this.
Yeah, he has already mentioned organ damage. We wouldn't want to risk that in Nigeria because we don't have so many facilities that can help you bring back a damaged organ. I mean, nobody wants to risk that. So that psychological effect as well. It might even lead to someone not being so mentally stable anymore. It can lead to anxiety. It can lead to, this is not really health. Family being separated, like the husband and wife, because of abusing this substance, they may now lead to separation. Immunity. I mean, the more we abuse these things, our body is trying to fight. I mean, the soldiers may get tired because most of them, as you rightly said, they may not be having enough food, enough nutrients in the body, but they keep using. And most of these things are not, okay, let's say if it's alcohol, it has almost high calorie but no nutrient inside. So the immunity of the person may keep dropping, can get to skin diseases, can even get to different cancer, cardiovascular diseases. Like that may affect our heart and the rest. So it's endless. It's endless. And also, most of these drugs that are taken intravenously, we may risk having HIV and other diseases that can be transmitted that way. It could even be hepatitis B or any other thing. So the risks are really endless. Nobody wants.
Okay, so what is the role of the government now in the abuse of drugs that is prevalent, among Nigerians? What are your expectations of the government? How should this be handled? Will you talk about rehabilitation centers? Will you talk about, how are they supposed to manage the issue of drug abuse?
Okay, I'll first say I believe in being proactive first. So the government should be proactive enough by educating people like teenagers, like we should catch them young. If we inform them the ills of this thing as early as post-primary school, primary school, they will know. So if these people now come to want to